Hello and welcome to another episode of Behind the Stack, where our Cloud Console Marketplace partners share their products and innovations. I'm Chris, a Technical Program Manager at Aurora. Today, we're pleased to be joined by Mahdi from AuditOne, who will introduce the functions of AuditOne and demonstrate its integration with Aurora virtual chains. So, Mahdi, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Could you kindly begin by providing some background about yourself and an overview about the AuditOne?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for having me today. I'm Mahdi Naderi. I'm the ecosystem manager at AuditOne. And if we want to keep it very short, AuditOne is basically a cybersecurity company based in Germany. And we do a variety of things. And one of the main things we're focused on is Web3 audits. And we've been around for around 4 years. We've helped secure over 4 billion in TVL. And we're also proud to say that we've had 0 incidents following the audits that we've had, incidents on the code bases that we've audited. That's pretty much the short version of it. I can make it a little longer, but let's go ahead and see how it looks.
Yeah, sounds great. Very promising. So can you show us a core product and the top maybe 2 or 3 features which can be beneficial for the builders, like maybe walk us through a common use case or workflow? Maybe you can share a project that is already using your services.
Projects that are already using, Aurora itself, we've had 6 or 7 audits with Aurora. We've recently had an audit with Calyx, which is also incubated by Aurora. We've had one with Near. But I think how it looks for projects, basically, we try to make the space as secure as possible. So as a founder, as a team who wants to build, the natural workflow would be first thinking about how much it would cost for us to sort of have some audit on our service and make sure we don't lose funds or go down right after we launch. I can share my screen and show you how it would look from that standpoint.
Sounds good.
Okay, so is my screen visible now?
It is, yes.
All right, so as a team member or a founder, initially when you come to our website, which is called auditone.io, here, if you click on the services button, you will see a bunch of different tools and services. And I think the most relevant one initially would be the price calculator and also the security checklist. So I'm not going to get into too much details, but basically after you do this security checklist and you answer these simple questions, you somehow get an understanding of, okay, where we are right now security-wise and where we need to be in order to be as secure as possible. And the next thing, which is also very important for projects, is how much would it cost for us to have an audit? And this price calculator makes things simpler. I'm going to fill in some random data here just so we can see how it looks. And the programming language, of course, plays a role because some languages are more complex than the other ones, therefore the price could be a little different. So let's choose Solidity as an example. And let's say development, repo type, let's say public, and I'm going to fill this. Now, one of the main factors that changes the pricing is the SLOC, or the source line of code. And if we say, for example, it's a platform with 2,000 lines of code, and then we do this, and then we click submit, here we get a rough estimation of how much it would cost for an audit. Now, this is emphasis on rough estimation because it may be a little lower or a little higher based on the complexity of the platform and some other factors. But one of the key things that I would like to take some time to talk about right now is basically I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Usually how auditing firms work is in 2 ways, especially in Web3. One of them would be traditional auditing firms where you go to a person, they have a team of auditors, cybersecurity researchers, and they go through your code. The other one would be a bug bounty where you would put your code on a repository and then people come and find vulnerabilities from it. AuditOne combines best of both worlds. So we have a centralized system, but we also have a pool of over 1,000 auditors. And we also have internal people who would choose, let's say, out of this 1,000 auditors, who is the best person who would go through your code, or the best people. Because for each audit, we assign 3 to 4 auditors that match the needs based on their expertise. And then they go through the code, they find the vulnerabilities, and also we have internal people who will look through the findings and assign the, let's say, severity, etc. One other little thing I would like to add is that I don't know about the exact pricing strategies and the compensation frameworks of other platforms, but with us, everything is 100% transparent. And if you go on Docs, you can see in the compensation page, we say that 75% of the funds that we receive from a project goes directly to the auditors. So we as a company don't take a large cut from the money that is coming from the companies. Therefore, this guarantees auditors to be more motivated and keeps things fair, because the audits do have some base payments, but most of the payment is performance based. So therefore, it creates this sort of loop where you would just be as secure as possible before launching. But I think I've been talking for quite some time now. I'm just going to stop here.
Yeah, this is all pretty interesting. So do I get it right, this that AuditOne provides kind of like crowdfunding audit platform? And what happens after the audit? Like after those auditors are assigned based on this review process, so they kick in and start working on the audit. What's the process of that? How do they work?
So the auditors work on the same repository, but they each go through the repository on their own, right? They work slightly individually and they submit their findings on GitHub. And there is a window that says, okay, for example, you have 2 weeks, 3 weeks of going through the code. They go through the code, they find the findings, they assign the severity that they think matches it. Then our people review it completely. And also in these vulnerabilities, when they find it, they also give recommendations for fixes, right? So after all this is said and done, we go back to the project. We say, okay, this is the GitHub repository, these are the findings, and these are the recommendations to fix these. And then the projects go through those findings, apply the, let's say, fixes, and then they come back to us and says, hey, these are the fixes. And we also review it one more time just to be sure everything is fixed. Sometimes they say, okay, this issue is not that important or severe, we're just gonna leave it, we're not gonna, let's say, fix it. But sometimes the other ones are like, yeah, definitely we're fixing this. And then afterwards, after it's all said and done, we go through the repository one more time, we create a detailed audit report, and that's sort of the last thing that the project receives. But then again, it's like the engagement doesn't end just at one audit. We have a client retention of 98%. So usually when we work with one company on one part of the project, then when they want to add some functions, they want to add new vaults, whatever, and they need an audit, they usually come back to us.
Yeah, sounds very good. So Mike, tell me, like, why should a change founder care about your services from day one? So basically, even though they just started with their project, why should they care about the audit?
The thing is, every day, like, one of the biggest news, everything that makes noise in crypto space, unfortunately these days, is a hack. Like, you can go on DeFi Llama, there's this whole endless list of recent hacks that have been happening, and yearly there is a lot of money that is being lost. I think it was around 2 billion that was lost so far in this year, and we haven't even finished the year either. Or maybe I'm wrong about this specific number, maybe a little more. But long story short, security is one of those things that should be proactive and not reactive. By the time you find out something was wrong or you had a vulnerability, it's too late. So you need to be proactive about it. And from day one, think about how you can keep your project as secure as possible, because some projects, yes, they go through an incident and they bounce back and they quickly refund the losses and everything is good. Once a project is bigger than a certain point, then it can bounce back. But if your project is not huge and you have an incident where you lose even not like all of the money, but let's say a bit of your vault, still the reputation damage is a lot more, could be a lot more than the financial damage. So you could go under, because then you would be known as that platform that had this hack. Because usually it's like, you know how the news is, bad news makes more noise. Usually everybody just likes to reshare bad news, and just all your competitors will be laughing at you. And yeah,
makes sense. And what about the after audit? I know that AuditOne has bug bounty program as well, which is pretty interesting. So after the, like, let's say a regular audit that is done, then it's possible for the other auditors to come and see like if there are like any bounties. As for me, as like project founder, I can specify those bounties, and in that way, those other auditors can help jump into and check if there are more, maybe there are more security issues after the changes I did recently.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, on our websites, we always have some active bug bounties. I think there's one from Aurora as well. Let me see. But yeah, after the audit, the projects, if they want to stay as secure as possible, for example, we have this one with Aurora, which has a $1 million bounty. We have one with Calyx, 100K, Tsunami, Safura, which is also our own project. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But if a project really wants to go above and beyond in terms of security, although these projects have all been audited by us, we also have bug bounties. So they put the code up and they want to at least, let's say, pay before something goes wrong. So bug bounty is also a huge part of our business, and we host them. So if somebody is not only interested in an audit, but also in a bug bounty, that could be a good fit for them. And also we have some other things that go beyond auditing, such as on-chain security, let's say, where our team would be, let's say, a guardian of the platform, and we would provide general on-chain security. And another thing that can happen after an audit, this is where I'm going to talk about Safura. So Safura is, let's say, our sister company, right? And when we go and we audit a project, Safura could come in if the project would like to. Now, what is Safura? Safura is basically, to simplify it, it's insurance but in Web3. And it guarantees if something goes wrong, or if something, let's say, some funds are lost due to a hack, specifically on the, let's say, smart contract level, then Safura could be used to reimburse or mitigate that loss. And what we do as AuditOne is, when we audit a company, we also give the option of, say, hey, we trust our audit so much that we will also give you coverage through Safura. So we sort of try to have this skin in the game. That's also another thing that could happen after an audit for a project founder.
Nice. So this is like a kind of insurance after the audit.
Exactly.
Interesting. And how about, as we know, there's like a lot of hype around the AI. Are you leveraging AI in some ways?
I mean, if I wanted to talk about everything we've been doing around AI, it would take a long time, but I'm just going to keep it very short. For the people who are, let's say, founders who are developing AI systems, one of the things that you care about is, of course, the security of the system, right? And we also audit AI systems, but apart from auditing, we also have some free tools on our platform, such as compliance checklist for your AI system. So you can go to the EU compliance checker, and then it has a couple of steps as you go through it, but then at the end, you kind of understand whether the AI system you have is compliant based on the EU AI Act or not. So we do some things on the security side of AI, auditing, compliance, etc., trying to make sure everything stays fit. But also we have AI tools. One of the AI tools that we've recently developed was the agent. Let me .io. Yeah, I'm not going to showcase this too much because it's going to require its own session. But long story short, you can use this chatbot-like agent where you analyze the tokens on different chains, such as Sonic, based on their security score. You can swap your portfolio here, you can rearrange it, and you can also set it so that if a token falls, let's say, below a certain security score, then it swaps that token for the rest of the token in your portfolio, and a whole bunch of different functions. So we have the agent, we have the compliance checker, we have the AI system audits. It's like some other things that we have as well, but yeah, I think these are the main ones.
Yes, a lot of services, I would say, like a full stack of auditing even. Good. Yeah, we could talk a lot more, but maybe let's jump to the QA section. So let's see what comments we have. GM. Do I understand correctly that through AuditOne I can also audit my virtual chain?
Yes, to an extent. So I'm not going to jump and answer something that I don't 100% know. I'm not that very technical that I would say yes. It depends on the chain itself and the layer, etc. But as far as I know, yes. And in case you would be interested in learning more, you can always go on our website, submit a question form, and we can get back to you.
Sounds good. And the other question is, I would like to add to what you're saying, the P2P review between auditors, a great process at AuditOne. Maybe not a comment, but yeah, still good.
Appreciate it.
GM FAM. Okay, so actually no more questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mahdi, do you have any last words for the future chain founders before we wrap up?
The thing is, even if I wasn't working at AuditOne, or even if I wasn't in a space, it's kind of a, let's say, no-brainer to always try to stay as secure as possible. And these days, even if you don't want to go with us, it's fine, but go with somebody and make sure you stay secure, because sometimes these losses can really drown the ship, unfortunately. That's the end of it.
That's a good last words. So as we're about to close the session, I would like to thank you, Mahdi, for this walkthrough of AuditOne, and thank you everyone who is watching this.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chris, for having me. It was a great session, and I hope the viewers enjoyed it.
Thanks. Likewise. Bye.
Bye-bye.